Hello, everybody.
Welcome back to our Link to the Past randomizer. Whoa, this is not the right layout at the moment. Our Link to the Past randomizer 2019 community tournament. Right now, you're just seeing Ninban, who is one of our two racers tonight. But we also have prieR57, who is going to be racing against him.
Should be a good matchup.
I know both these guys
are veterans.
They've been around for a while.
I did a little bit of looking into how prieR ended up being a 4th seed in any group. And it turns out of his first 4 races, he had a 7th place finish, and he had 3 scores in the 60s, which for most people is a death sentence for qualifying in this tournament. But he ended up doing 7 total races, and he ended up getting top 5 in 2 of those extra 3 races, and a score of 90 in the 3rd. So that overall boosted him up enough to get into the top 128. Which makes a lot of sense. He is very good at this game.
Yeah, I remember when I first started, he'd be
doing pretty good in every race.
And looks like we're off. Flute.
Insta-flute is one of the best things you can ask for. Oh. And Insta-mirror, too.
Okay.
Wow.
You can't go wrong with either of these two starting points. I was going to say Ninban just made the wrong choice, but...
Yeah, because of that choice, he got a mirror out of Sanctuary, which is always so much fun to do out of a save and quit, but oftentimes not worth the extra menu. And $20 from the first level tree pole is fantastic.
Getting a little kickstart.
And then finding out that our friend the Bush Crab only has some small magic, not super worth it.
Or getting that magic into those 2 pots. I think that's always a smart thing to do. Unless you already have magic.
And another 300 rupees on Uncle, $20 in the secret passage. So overall, we got, $400 out the gate.
Uncle must have sold his sword.
I don't blame him. He wasn't going to be able to do much good with it anyway.
Yeah, he was looking a little rough.
He's got healthcare bills.
And some nice bombs in the Thieves' Hideout makes it nice and easy for Kakariko because you don't have to buy bombs. You just use the ones you got. So these guys are both going to be headed down to Kakariko right away.
Kakariko couldn't possibly be a bad play.
Yeah, you're never going to skip it, which is why most people always start out with it. Ninban doing a lot of mirror racing, which doesn't really save any time in this situation, but hey, clears this room up. He's cleaning up the basement for blind.
Yeah, it makes it look a lot cleaner. It's a little housekeeping.
Nothing in there, though. Nothing that you really want at all. I mean, there's a heart piece. That was nice, right? Now the flip over to the well. We're starting off 3 more bombs. That's not bad.
Watch it, Ninban.
Yeah, he's a little bit rough on that health there, but got the extra heart back and doubt he's gonna die in Kakariko. Got a power glove out of the well.
I wouldn't put dying in Kakariko past Ninban.
And get the combos down. So we didn't really get to it before the race, but Ninban did lose game one. From what we're to understand, this was due to a computer crash, which the file names he suggested and he put in very much support. So, it was a closer race than it would have looked if you looked at the end times, because he just didn't finish.
Yeah, if you look at the end times, there's a nice DQ next to Ninban's name.
Kakariko was mostly empty. prieR's got a nice early advantage from having gone to Link's house and gotten that flute, because he's got that active now, and there's a sword on the library, so when they get boots, they might make a way back there.
Yeah, Ninban's gonna have to walk very slowly back to Kakariko. That'll be sad.
Yep, and still not going to Link's house. He's gonna go check the back of Escape here right off the bat. He got that glove in Kakariko. It makes sense to head here right away.
It would be nice for Ninban if he finds a bottle. That'd be pretty good. So he could take it back to Sick Kid.
Yeah, that would certainly help lessen the blow of finding that flute in Link's house on his next save and quit. But that's just junk, so here comes the save and quit. He'll go to Link's house, be a little bit disappointed. And we did get a couple map checks. We didn't really call it out at the time, but we got a crystal in Eastern Palace, a green pendant in Desert, and a non-green pendant in Hera, which means we've only got one pendant to be found in the Dark World, which is not what you like to see.
It'll be Thieves Stone.
It's always Thieves Sound. Hey, a hammer in Dan.
Nice, nice. Just in time for Mini Moldarm Cave. Hammer Mini Moldarm Cave's always fun.
Oh yeah, very fun. Ninban went over to Sahasrara, found a couple big 20s and a heart piece, so that wasn't really helpful to him, but he'll be getting a heal and fluting his way down south most likely now.
Well, those Moldarms cooperated real nice there.
He did. I enjoyed that one guy just deciding, I'm going to come over and help you out and save you a bomb and just come into the middle section.
Art piece. Some rubies. There's a sword. Some bombs. Some more money.
Not a fantastic mini Moldarm cave, but you're never going to object to having a sword at the 7-minute mark.
Yeah, swords are good. We go over to Ice Rod Cave. Oh, he's going to Death Mountain. A little dark room here.
Yeah, always a risk to put off Ice Rod Cave, but you've got the mirror and the hammer, which means you've got all of Death Mountain, except the old man, who's not in logic, but you can obviously do as prieR is.
Yeah, it's not too much slower in the dark.
I like how Ninban pushed and deleted both of those blocks, despite the fact that, he only needed to do one, and that made it save no time.
Get the last one in, Ben. Oh, come on.
An old man holding his cane and prieR being like, listen, man, I need payment. I'm taking this. Ninban on his way to
get out of the way.
That is true. Yeah, Ninban's going to go to Mini Moldarm Cave, get that sword, and then we'll see if he goes to Ice Rod Cave or if he also makes the play straight up to Death Mountain. There's a bottle in Spectacle Rock.
I hear Ninban still uses dial-up. Just a rumor, but I kind of believe it.
And
Prior signed up for
prior
bomb
line.
jump here.
Yep, he uses a different lineup than I do. I personally line up the rightmost pixel of my shadow with that dark line on the wall. He looks to be lining up his sword with the hint tile, telepathy tile there. So, a little bit different lineup, but works exactly the same, makes it no problem. And on his way up to Hera, Ninban skipped the old man, so he does not have that Cane of Samaria yet. He'll obviously get it eventually, but he decided not worth the time right now.
Prior now has Zoro money.
If he needs it.
Good old Zora, some life lessons like none other.
I think it's life lessons or a glove. It's one of the two.
That sounds about accurate. Maybe this time you could have the Moon Pearl. Just, some nice little rock he found under the water.
Ninban also doing the spectacle rock jump. This jump is weird. I only ever get it when I don't try.
So the trick there, for those unfamiliar, is because of how you line up on that wall, you're technically clipped a little tiny bit into the wall. So when you get the bomb knockback, instead of recognizing a fall, it recognizes you as being on the ground and pushes you longer, which is just far enough to get you across the gap. Also, we did have a Dark World map check from Ninban. We've got a Pendant Misery Mire, and Swamp and Ice are our 5-6 crystals for the day.
Moldarm fight coming up. Should be pretty easy with the hammer. It's pretty much just like having a tempered sword. Almost. Ooh, that was close.
Tempered Sword with a really bad hitbox.
Yeah, he's got him. Close call, but he's got him.
It nearly fell down. The hole no one ever wants to fall down. Begins item number 2, it's 3 bombs, but has crystal number 1 in less than 12 minutes, which is lovely. Also, I don't think we've mentioned, but we do have both runners using MSU packs, so we are running with the no game sound at the moment because we cannot run audio on MSU packs.
Something copyright.
Ninban gonna be taking on his trip against Moldorm while prior walks through Spiral Cave, a thing no one ever wants to do. Just walking and walking and walking and still walking, and he's almost to the hole now.
Just some bombs. And a Moldorm party.
Even invited some jellies.
That sounds like a pretty good party, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, but I just never get invited.
He's got a drop down in there. Uninvited.
To answer a quick question from the chat, if I recall correctly, we did not see the small key in Hera, so the basement holds the small key.
There's got to be like a moon pearl in here, right? In Paradox.
I'm gonna kind of be mean and hope that there's not. There's a red meringue and some bombs that they need. There's a Titan's Mitt. That's something.
That's pretty good. That's
And
really good.
$20 and a single arrow. Oh yeah. Now I am surprised that prieR didn't go ahead and drop down and do Super Bunny Cave while he was there. Obviously, it would be out of logic, but it's at least something that you can do extra. And you're gonna Ninban.
We all saw that. There's no one seeing it.
That's true. Now this might, depending if he goes right back up the mountain, that's downside, but he's not going to do so. This could turn out to be a gain for him, actually, as if he gets the Moon Pearl here in Escape or somewhere else he goes before East Death Mountain, he'll be able to go to Dark Death Mountain and clear that out with the Moon Pearl when he goes back up there.
Yeah, that'll actually be pretty good.
Of course, with no hookshot, you're no better off than if you just Super Bunny into Super Bunny Cave, but still a thing that can be done. Meanwhile, prieR is going to go check out my favorite Moon Pearl location at Checkerboard Cave. He might Super Bunny into the Mire Shed while he's here. And that was Quack on the Mire entry. It's a pendant. We might never need to go in there, but it's good to know what it requires.
An unlocked desert. That's a note.
Item number 1 is a heart piece. Meanwhile, item number 1 in Escape is a shovel. I hear that people enjoy the fetch quests, so maybe that shovel will be important. Ninban finds the lamp.
It's a pretty good spot for it.
It is, and I enjoy the fact that he left that small key on the ground there, because he can just go to the Dark Cross from the front. He's already done the back. He doesn't need that extra small key, so he just leaves it behind, saves, probably less than a second, but it's still time saved.
Yeah, it's smart. Quick.
Well,
there's something.
That answers that question.
It's bait, man. It's bait.
And just gonna leave the Dark Cross behind despite having the lamp. That's a risk. That's a strange risk, honestly. Hey, there it is. That death on East Death Mountain really, really costs Ninban. prieR, why? You had Mire Shed right there. You were there.
It's not easy to remember Mire Shed, like, immediately.
That's very true. It's just we just had kind of back-to-back very risky skips from both of these guys. Getting back to Mire Shed isn't slow. Neither is getting back to the front of Hyrule Castle, but it's slower than just doing it while you're there. So they both kind of right back-to-back had that odd moment.
prieR gets a bow and chess game.
That's always nice to get. That'll open up pod. Eastern is a pendant, so that'll be less valuable than it could be in some seeds, but you still want to be able to clear out pod, which is a crystal.
And if you do pod, and you're still looking for stuff, it's going to be really tempting to go into Eastern.
Very much so, especially with that mirror on hand. They can just do pod, and if they don't get what they're looking for there, mirror straight across the EP.
It's an ice rod in Thieves Town. No ice rod hunts today.
Wait, did we just find Ice Rod in less than 20 minutes on a seed where Turtle Rock is, in fact, a crystal? What is this?
Yeah, I don't believe it either. This might be a Plano. I'm kidding.
We get the big key, which has to be in the first 4 chests of Thieves Town, followed by a small key. So 3 items locked in the back of the dungeon. Ninban getting his Titan's Mid's gonna go, well, crap.
That death was pretty bad. I wonder if Ninban's going to play a little more aggressive now. Like feeling behind like within like 20 minutes of the start is pretty... It's a weird feeling.
Yeah, I mean, in practice, he didn't do anything that was a time waste following up on that. You know, he went to escape, he checked Sick Kid. Those are things you're going to do eventually anyway, most likely. But what he did lose out on was without the hook shot, you can't get back to East Death Mountain very quickly, and having to redo that path is not ideal. Now he is following in prieR's footsteps, but not stepping into desert immediately. He
mirror blocks. Oops.
You hate to see it. prieR being very cautious with these crickets on his half heart. They can one-shot him even if he had picked up that full heart on the ground. And
these guys
Ninban
are
going
scary.
very much so. Ninban going for Super Bunny into Meyer Shed gets it, which is going to be a little bit laughable to him in a few moments. But we'll see what's in here now. A heart piece and $20. And now decides, before going to Checkerboard Cave, to go check out Desert Palace, which I don't blame him. It's right here. You can maybe do most of it. You can maybe get kicked out in 5 seconds.
It's worth it just to see if your boot's locked or not.
Yeah, it's a pendant, so you don't necessarily need to do it anyway, but they're very quick checks while you're right there. Meanwhile, Thieves Town is coming up dead empty so far, but it's a crystal, so it doesn't matter if it's empty. You need to do this anyway.
Quake was in Escape, I believe, yeah. Zelda's chest.
Now we come up to the blind fight. For anyone who doesn't know, blind is a very scripted fight. If you do things the same every time, it will be the same every time.
Blind is a scripted fight?
Well, not as much the way prieR's doing it. He might have, his own script for it, but it's not the general one. Still went very smooth, though.
Powder. That's
Yeah.
a good place for that.
Yeah, you're probably gonna do the Smith chain here soon. You got the gloves. You can do all this easy. So yeah, very good time for that. And Ninban is taking a little bit of a risk here that prieR could not. He's going to go kill Lanmo for that green pendant. Because he got that lamp out of escape, he is able to do this, while prieR, while he was here, had no fire.
It's a
And
bit of a long check, but I can't really fault him for it. He's right here.
yeah, it's definitely not a bad idea to just take it out. The hard part is going to be he's going to have to do Hammer Landmolus, which is never fun. Is he going to do bombs? He's going to do bombs. Okay.
This fight with Hammer is very annoying.
Very much
Like
so.
all the
These
worms like
small
hold in the
hitbox.
air. All the worms kind of just hold in the air for a little while. It's actually pretty good, but if they quick hop, it's a nightmare.
Yeah, especially as you get lower, like now on the last one, having to deal with the 8-way rock explosion, it's hard to not get hit there. Ninban takes him out, though. Gets item number 2, a heart container. prieR, having completed the digging game, gonna grab the blacksmith, go over here, drop him off, check magic bat, the hammer pegs, grab the purple chest. This is a really good setup to make this early Dark World stuff very efficient.
The only thing that'll make it better would be some boots.
What are boots?
There's something you don't want to see late.
Ninban with his Moon Pearl, realizing exactly how much that death did do to him. I think probably part of him was hoping the Pearl was either in Nagina or Eastern Palace, but no such luck today.
Some blue mail from the dwarves.
Hey, I think that actually makes sense for a couple of blacksmiths to be making. You don't see that often in Rando.
Yeah, armor.
So Ninban did Agina here, and both those checks, the Myershed and Agina that prieR skipped out on earlier, didn't do any harm to him for skipping, so that's a plus for him. Now we're seeing my preferred start over here going to Hype Cave first. Unfortunately, with the bow in, Kakariko, you could just do Hype Cave up to Pyramid to Pod, nice and easy. But you don't want to do that without the bow, so he'll be doing over to Village of Outcasts and then just fluting to Pod later.
No, he's going to go to Catfish. He's going to go to Pyramid, then to Catfish.
You sound very confident, so I'm going to trust you on this.
I'm 100% confident.
There's the other mail upgrade and the sword upgrade over in Hype Cave, so not bad. And you are correct, and prior grabbing 20 bucks from Stumpy. Now he could do the nice little leave the chest behind. Sorry, go ahead.
I was wrong. He's going to pod.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate gamble, given that we know where one bow is. Odds are the other one isn't here. He's probably doing this so he can turn in that green pendant ASAP. Try to make use of that desert play, but
Yeah, it makes sense.
and desert fully empty, so extra time spent going to Lambo really did not pay off at all for Ninban, and may have pushed him into a unfortunate direction for seed progression.
Yeah, this hasn't been a great start for Ninban. I know this is the last time I'm going to be confident in Ninban.
Now watch us both be wrong, and there's going to be a bow in the first chest of pod, and it's just going to be, hey, you just don't have silvers for this. And the Santa costume is complete on prior's side. He is now looking like Santa Link a lot more than he did at the beginning when he was in a green or a blue shirt. And also making his way to pod, just, he can full clear pod. Not logically, as far as he knows.
This is a no-brainer for prior.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's going to mirror over, check the back of Sahasrara, which he has not done yet while he's here, most likely.
He could go to Pyramid after pod and then do escape then. That makes sense.
Ninban going to set up to do a potion camera unlock, or bottle camera unlock more accurately, since it doesn't need to be a potion. Just uses the potion as he's walking left, bumps his way into this room, and hey, that mimic just walked right off screen. Other mimics walk off screen, game thinks they're dead, and opens the door. It is such a silly glitch to watch in action, but it's very straightforward. It's very hard to mess up once you know how it works.
Wait for the backup pod.
You've already had the big key and an extra small key. Ninban could choose to just, and he is going to do a hammer jump here, go straight to the big chest, and then exit out of the dark maze, go into the other side.
Nice.
Ah! That's pretty valuable. So that'll likely push them both back up Death Mountain to go do Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave, and that'll be a lot quicker than it would have been, a little bit ago when they had to go the long way around.
Prior gets to do this room in the next room, the old-fashioned way.
In the U room, we have half magic. That's always a good thing to see. And Ninban, unfortunately, preparing to exit pod. He is going to get one last item here, which is 3 bombs. and be unable to continue to kill Helmasaur.
See if he goes into Eastern. Guess he's not going to.
I'm going to go right up Death Mountain and take advantage of that hook shot. I think he's thinking that, hey, we don't have Bo. prieR probably didn't go to pod, so this hook shot might be an advantage. To make up for that earlier death, I'm going to head right up Death Mountain. Unfortunately, Bo was right there, so prieR does have Bo and came here with it and will be getting the hook shot himself here very soon.
It would be unfortunate if he found the Fire Rod and then went into Turtle Rock.
Oh, no, don't make me think of that being possible. It's just too sad if that happened.
Alright, going through the Dark Maze here. One of the harder... Nope. Sorry, I get mixed up. Get ahead of myself. Now he's headed for the Dark Maze. This is one of the harder Dark Rooms in the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, the connections between the paths are so tiny, you really have to be lined up well with them. It's easy enough to memorize, but to actually execute the movement through there can be kind of a pain.
Especially if everything kind of gets in your way and you just get bounced around.
And T-Rock requires a Bombo, so we can dive in there. We'll see if Ninban decides to make the dip in there without Fire Rod, which is not an uncommon thing to do. Hookshot Caves so far, pretty empty. And very, very empty Hookshot Cave.
Nothing.
And he is going to make the dip into T-Rock. Now, there are a couple options here. One is the first chest is not a small key, in which case he's locked out, he has to leave. If the first chest is a small key, he can make the Chain Chomp room. If that's a small key, he can make it to the big key chest. If that's the big key, he can make it to the Crystal Roller room. If that's a small key, he can make it to Laser Bridge, and Fire Rod could be there. But odds are you're not going to get that perfect lineup. You're probably going to get locked out earlier. I see a question in chat. If it's strategic skipping that middle chest in pod, the front of pod is always going to have 4 small keys. So the runners got 2 non-key items while they were searching the rest of the front, leaving that last chest needed to be a small key. Have we got
a book? That's actually a good spot. It's a good spot.
That is a good spot for that. I mean, you can walk over here and check ether. What if that book ends up becoming supremely relevant in how the rest of this plays out? Like, required a book to go down to Bombo's tablet to get the Fire Rod. How would you feel about that?
Sounds fun.
Also, shoutouts to prieR making it through the absolute hardest dark room in the game. The Dark Turtle room in pod with no Fire Rod. That is never a fun thing to do. It's just stupidly hard to keep up on sometimes.
I actually think the Dark Maze is harder. As controversial as that sounds.
See, I'd give you that it's hard to learn, but just because of the RNG on the turtles, you can't just have it consistent 100% of the time.
That's true.
So Helmasaur, dead in short order on prieR's side, used some arrows to wipe out phase 2 quicker, and he's now got his third crystal, which puts him at a pretty noteworthy crystal advantage. And Ninban, meanwhile, got his bow out of Village of Outcasts and went dark.
prieR saving and quitting. So he's booking it straight to Dark Death Mountain.
So you're Ninban right now, and you took that death on East Death Mountain. Turns out the Titan's Myth that blocked your Moon Pearl and Checkerboard Cave was there. You decide to go to Pod, and you go through it. You get the hook shot. You're feeling good. Only to go to Village of Outcasts and find the bow. How are you feeling as a runner at that point?
Bad.
That's a very succinct way of putting it. I mean, on one hand, the pod thing, you know, maybe your opponent took the same gamble. The green pendant was there. It was 2 items. Maybe they took the same play, but you know that glove put you behind. And you know that bow probably is pushing you that way. You're going to be thinking of what can I do to get some time back. And at this point, we don't have a whole lot of options on that front, honestly. Once we're done with the Thieves' Town on Ninban's side and through these Death Mountain checks on prieR's side, we're gonna have a couple options left. The Front of the Skull Woods, no one checked while they were up there. They could dive Misery Mire, which nobody wants to do, but a lot of stuff is already done.
I guess Catfish and Pyramid haven't been checked yet.
That's true, although they both decided not to check them on the way to Pod, so, you know, they might just pretend they just don't exist. Those locations are just gone to them.
I'd expect them to go to Mire before then.
Although, you know, Catfish in this situation is actually a pretty solid check. So you're going to do Catfish, mirror over. You can do a splash delete to get the waterfall chests. And then you can go up to Zora, which that's a solid 4 item checks, 5 item checks.
That's efficient. Ninban will be able to get to Bombos pretty easily after he does the Smith stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of convenient routing for him, which has not, unfortunately for his state in this race, happened very often for him today so far.
I don't think Ninban did Spike Cave.
He did not. It's out of logic, and I don't know that they can actually do it right now. I don't think that the 9 hearts they're sitting on are enough to get through there with no healing item or invincibility item.
Yeah, you're right.
I'm not gonna lie, I have not seen that blind pump before, and I missed it when prieR did it. That gets a couple points at least.
That was a blind script, right?
It went off the rails in phase 3, but the first two phases were pretty solid on there. If you get the perfectly scripted blind fight, blind is going to die on the left side just before moving back into the light. Oh, I like that. prieR jumped into the water without flippers outside of Meyer's shed, which put him in iframes that he then used to walk through the sparks in Meyer's shed. That is fantastic.
Yeah, that's pretty sweet. Where's prieR going? Ace Rod Cave. Guess this will be our first check here.
In before boots.
Yeah, this would be a great place for boots.
Just 10 arrows, though. Sad. So where are we going next? prieR can't dive Meyer, so I feel like he's probably going to try to make that catfish move. Or maybe Friend of Skull Woods, it looks like, actually.
I don't think we've seen North Yard yet.
Yeah, we've still got Graveyard Ledge. We haven't checked Bumper Ledge, which we don't have cape for, but could be a thing.
You gotta get that intel.
So many times has deciding not to do that check come back to bite me. It pains my heart.
I remember a scene where I didn't check that place and it had boots. It was like the last check in the game. That was one of the most miserable scenes I've ever played.
I'd imagine. prieR going to work his way to the middle here with Pinball Room being randomized now. Not having a small key guaranteed, you really don't want to drop down in the front without a small key. It's a risk of having to save and quit out.
Yeah, you'll get soft locked, possibly.
Unfortunately for him, that chest in the middle was just $20, and he probably wishes he never came to check it. And he's just gonna skip that entire front segment. Like, there has to be 2 small keys in there, but there could be the second item. I'm kind of surprised he didn't drop down and check those 3 chests.
Yeah, it's a little risky. There's Ether.
Which we know we don't need, so we can kind of mark that off as done.
Yeah, it might as well be the bug net. It's actually less valuable than the bug net. Looks like a 20 movie.
I don't know about less valuable than the bug net. You know, if you want to be lazy in certain areas, it can be a boon.
I suppose that's true. You can use it to your advantage pretty good in GT.
Get rid of all the mummies in the back of Skull Woods in one go. We do have a question in chat about if that could be Fire Rod right now. Yes, it can. It could also be the boots. It could be the flippers that we need. Pretty much every item they still need, which is just 2, the Fire Rod and the flippers, it could be on pedestal. So it's definitely not dead. And actually the pedestal is 100% in logic right now, which gives it a little bit of extra value.
A ped seed would help Ninban a lot here. So if you're rooting for Ninban,
Root for pedestal.
Tried to bounce off that tree and just got knocked down into a less convenient spot.
I'm guessing these runners would rather see Fire Rod before Flippers.
Yeah, most likely, because that just means you don't have to go into the swamp or Ice Palace until go mode, and then you're just happy.
Fire going into Eastern Palace.
This is the first dive we've seen over here, so there could be something that's been waiting for them this whole time.
See, Bombo's tablet. It's bombs.
That's
Fair
fitting.
enough.
Someone just stole the tablet's Cheerios, so it was only left with bombs instead of bombos. And Ninban gonna make the opposite pendant dungeon play. And he's gonna go dive into Misery Mire, see what's going on here. I like this decision. I like both their decisions, honestly.
I like Meyer here a lot.
Now, it's not like, you know...
Logic. They say you can follow the logic, and I think Meyer is following the logic a little more.
See, I'm not a fan of the whole reading the logic idea, because the game is so randomized that it really doesn't mean anything, where you get items more often than not. But going deeper into the seed is not usually a bad thing. Now, it's not like V26, where Misery Mire was always progression, like 98% of the time. But it's
if it wasn't Meyer, it was Skull.
And oftentimes it was just both.
Very true.
For those who weren't around back in V26, it was pretty much go to every dungeon immediately. Diversion.
It's like nothing in Eastern.
If I'm prior gonna dip out without killing the boss, if this were to end up being a pedestal seed, that would be painful, but likelihood is it's not gonna hurt him. Likelihood is that's just gonna save some time.
Double dipping dungeons is a massive time waste.
Yeah, of course, we are getting low on locations at this point. We've already got one item out of Mire. We've now seen all three in Eastern. We've got Pyramid, we got Catfish, we got Zora. Now we got the Mushroom, which is item 2 in Mire. We're getting kind of tight on options.
See if Ninban goes straight for Mushroom. Yeah.
Yeah, it makes
Good
a lot of
combos in with
sense.
Pyramid and Catfish.
Now, you know what, you say that, and now I kind of think this was not the best way to do it, but I think he's trying to push that Mire play. Unfortunately, it gets a big 20.
Picking up some potion, maybe. Probably not, but maybe Spike gave. He's gonna fake flipper. What's he doing? He's gonna fake flippering.
And gonna go up, check the waterfall, check Zora, which is in logic. again, kind of like that mushroom, he could have grouped this all together much better with catfish. So I'm not sure I entirely agree with the particular routing here, but it's not awful, it's just kind of a little bit less efficient than it could have been.
He really got trolled, if you will, there.
And no matter which one you opened first, the same thing was going to happen. So we're going to get our first Zora check. We're going to see the Zora ledge, which likely is nothing. Yep. And prieR looks like he's going to be doing the catfish pyramid to catfish route here, which is pretty much going to tell us what our options are very quickly.
Yeah, that's not bad.
So we've got potentially one more item in Skull Woods. We've cleared out Eastern, we've cleared out Desert and Green Pendant. Hera, Pod, we can't get into Swamp. We've cleared Thieves Town, can't get into Ice, logically. Cleared the items from Mire, cleared out the one check we can do in T-Rock. Most of the overworld is done. We're kind of looking like that pedestal might happen.
It's a little baby shield on pyramid.
And Ninban with the bold move into Ice Palace with Bombos. This is risky when you have 2 items left for go mode and one of them is the flippers.
Yeah, it's bold. It's a bold play.
I would even say this is the play of a man who feels like nothing has gone right for him all seed, and he needs something to hit for him to be able to win.
Yeah, I would agree with that assessment.
Also, I think it's worth noting for those watching who may not be familiar with this tournament setup, the races that we got going on are part of the group stage, which is basically a series of mini double elimination brackets. Each of these matchups are a best of 3. prieR took game 1 due to Ninban's computer crashing. So a loss here puts him down to the loser side of the bracket, which means he would have to win 2 straight matchups to get into the bracket stage of the tournament. If he can win, stay alive, get the victory here, he would only need 1 victory to move into that bracket stage, and he would need 1 more victory in the series to move up in the winner's bracket, which is obviously preferable. So while his tournament life isn't on the line, you know he's feeling the heat trying to get that positive layout there, make use of that first seed in the group of his to get a little bit easier path through the group stage.
He may have a little problems with the bomb jump here. So I use this sprite, so I can't really tell if he's got it or not.
Yeah, I don't know how that sprite lines up compared to the normal Link sprite or the outline version of Link that I usually use, so I couldn't really tell moment to moment what was going to make it, but he got it eventually.
Making use of the Quake here.
Yep, Quake is a mostly useless medallion, but hey, it kills Pen Gators nice and quick.
Taking a little damage going down the stairs. I half expect Ninban to just open this chest and go for gold stair. So he's going to continue checking, though.
Yeah, it takes so long to get back here in ice. I don't think that's a gamble that you can really make in Ninban's situation. He's hoping this pays off by being, that major check that saves him the race.
Pet is currently unknown.
Yes, Pet is unknown and looking surprisingly likely. I'm personally pulling for Fancy a Swim, but...
Oh man, that is like the greatest description.
It's real good. And prieR gets his mushroom, also going to dip immediately out of Mire, which, again, I feel is a risk given this situation. He doesn't have a lot of locations left. Pedestal is looking very possible right now. You're already through Mire 2 and all the slow parts of Mire. Just wrap it up while you're there and save the time if it becomes necessary. To answer a question in chat, the mushroom was item number 2 in Mire. The first item was a heart container on the Godmire bridge. And I believe that's the third item out of Ice Palace, so as expected, that is empty. Ninban gonna go kill Cold Stare and then move on with his life to something else. And he now feels even worse about how he's doing in this race, which can't be a positive thing for his mindset.
I just hope he keeps it together. If you start feeling really behind, things can snowball pretty quick.
Yeah, I've got to give some credit here in that, it's easy when things start going wrong like this, speaking from experience, to start having it reflect in your execution, to start being sloppier, have more issues with everything. He really hasn't shown that. The bomb jump was a little struggle, but that happens.
Give Cold Stare some kisses, Ninban.
Oh, prieR's gonna do the thing.
One more. Oh, I think there's like 6 kisses. Oh
yes!
Yeah. Nice. That's second only to This Is a Paradox, in my opinion.
So at this point, we can probably assume the Fire Rod is hanging out in Swamp Palace. And that's going to make prieR feel pretty bad, because he has dipped deep into Eastern and left. He has dipped deep into Mire and left. He has done everything of Desert but the boss and left.
Nice fake flipper setup by Ninban there. I haven't seen that yet.
I actually missed it watching prieR walk over to Misery Mire.
I wouldn't be able to describe it since I don't know it personally. But yeah, it's arrows, bombs. That's all I know of that glitch.
Yes. Splash delete. That's it's an interesting quirk of finding all of this Ancilla shenanigans that pretty much tore the vanilla game open. And then people eventually realize, wait a second, the way fake flippers works is by, blocking the Ancilla of the splash from spawning. So if we do the same thing with, our other methods we found of overloading Ancilla, we can fake flipper anywhere. Ninban is going to go check Skull Woods, and then he is going to dive in, or he is probably going to check the pedestal following this, and figure out that yes, you do need to do the pedestal today. And so Skull Woods could be the fire rod. It could be hanging out in the pot prison or the pinball room or the, I want to say it's the compass in the vanilla game chest. Those are all things that haven't been checked yet. And we could just have Fire Rod chilling in Skull Woods this whole time. Ninban, you have the Cane of Smart.
So Ninban's going to check pedestal.
Yeah, interesting that he's walking through Skull Woods to get there. I kind of expect him to go back out, do the drop-down checks, and then just walk here in the light world, which isn't a whole lot different time-wise. We got our Vanilla Meyer Big Key. And also leaving that potential one item in Skull Woods behind. He's going to wrap up both Pod and Eastern here. Now he's still looking for Fire Rod, so he doesn't get a go mode Eastern. He still has to clear out all those chests. There's really no avoiding that.
Which chest was the big key in Eastern?
I don't remember. I want to say it was early, so if he wanted to gamble, he could skip the vanilla big key chest.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was an item in the big key chest. I wouldn't be surprised if he skipped that.
So prior approaching Vitreous and Ninban diving back into Pod, he just has to kill Helmasaur here. He's done everything else. And once this is done, they're going to be even on Dungeons Complete for a very short time until Ninban kills Helmasaur. Once Ninban kills Helmasaur, they will be, and he will be ahead shortly until prior kills Landmolus.
Oh, watch out. That's Vitreous down.
Yep, and pendant number 2 for prior. He's just got desert. No, pendant number 1 for prior. My apologies. It's got
Vitreous
desert and east.
Vitreous thought you wouldn't find him if he took the compass.
That makes sense. You know, it's hard to navigate those dungeons without that thing. To quickly respond to a question in chat, both items in Meyer were found, so since he has already dove Meyer for everything except for the boss, going back there is literally just for that pendant for the flippers.
Ninban getting to do pod in the light mode pod.
You don't see that very often. It's nice to see sometimes. And prior, definitely not enough arrows to try to do a NMG style land mow. you would not do very well with 5 arrows doing that Lambo fight. But with Master Sword, he could do spins. Looks like he's going to go for Ice Rod strats.
Oh, baby. These are the best strats. Oh.
It
Got one
is
of them.
shockingly hard to land Ice Rod shots on Lambo.
It's going to be a 3 cycle? 4 cycle.
Not terrible, and Ninban takes the lead in dungeons completed and immediately relinquishes it.
He'll take the lead again here in a second.
Yep, although prieR's going to be in Eastern soon as well. If Ninban doesn't skip that vanilla big key chest, he's going to take a little bit longer here. They're going to be pretty synced up, with the difference being prieR has Misery Mire boss cleared, Ninban has Ice Palace cleared, and depending on what they do after finding the flippers, that Ice Palace could be very important.
prieR can end up with a classic Ice Palace or Swamp Palace. You gotta pick one. You pick wrong, you gotta pick the other.
Can we just skip the picking of those two options? Because I don't like either of them.
You gotta do it.
So yeah, depending on how Ninban gets through here, prieR might make it through this dungeon quicker than him. In fact, he is slightly... Oh no, they're pretty much synced now. prieR just a couple frames ahead.
Oh, he menued. Ninban's back in the lead. That's not the way you're supposed to throw that pot.
prieR seeing a 10 arrow drop and wisely going to grab it, given that he only had 7, which is nowhere near enough for an Armos fight. And Ninban is going straight to the back, so he's going to be leaving the item behind in Eastern. I'm sure he'll be a little bit concerned, but this is good for him. We know it's nothing. We know he needs to do this to get a little bit of time back, and he's leading the way through the dungeon yet again with a much cleaner dark room. Now there are 2 different quick kills that you can do for Armos. There is the slightly quicker one and the slightly slower one. We'll see if they both do the same kill or different kills, or if somebody messes up the quick kill. Ninban did mess up the quick kill on that Igor, unfortunately.
There's a new strat for the top right quick kill. You shoot an arrow down. I haven't tried it yet. Where you shoot an arrow down right there.
And they are doing the opposite strats, which is awesome with how synced up this is. And both getting the pendant at almost exactly the same time. Beautiful.
And Ninban's falling behind on the menu.
So prieR's going to go pull the pedestal, and a very important choice is coming up. If he goes to Swamp Palace, we can likely assume Fire Rod is going to be there, and that is going to be a major lead for him. If he decides to go Ice Palace, which Ninban already did, then he'll be pretty even between the two of them, between Ice Palace and the Mire clear here.
I'm interested to see if he does the flipper stuff beyond Ice and Swamp first. I don't think he's done that yet. I could be wrong.
He has not. So from my perspective, people fake flipper all the time. And those flipper checks someone might have cleared out right in the early part of the game. So
That's true.
Part of me thinks diving the dungeons that people are going to be avoiding without the flippers kind of is nicer of an option than going for those. Here we go, folks. Do you fancy a swim?
Fire does.
To be fair, I don't think he fancies a swim. I think he wishes that he never had to go swimming ever again.
Fair, fair. He's going to swamp.
He
It's
is.
the choice that wins in the game.
Yeah, the only way this doesn't give him a major lead is if that fire rod is hanging out in that one chest in Skull Woods, or on the other thing we haven't checked, Graveyard Ledge.
It could be left side, and he could like skip it and go to Ice Palace. That's a strong possibility.
That's also true. I'd imagine with him having gone into every pen dungeon and left, I'd imagine he does feel behind. So skipping left side swamp is definitely viable. And our tracker, Jeremy Tramer, pointing out that we may have already seen Graveyard Ledge. I'm just forgetting about it. So here we go, folks. A very important moment in the seed. These two have been rather close despite everything all seed. If Fire Rod is here and prieR finds it, he is in go mode and definitively in the lead. And it'll all come down to if his execution can hold the lead. If Fire Rod is not here, then we have very few options and it's anybody's game.
Boots could still be necessary. Just throwing it out there.
They could be, and that would be fantastic.
Oh man, that would be awesome.
Okay, how about this? Fire Rod in one of the next couple of chests, Boots on left side swamp, Big Key GT on the torch.
I love it. I love it. Make it happen.
I apologize wholeheartedly to prieR and Ninban for hoping to curse them like that. But I mean, we just had flippers on pedestal. I gotta hope for going all in on the troll this time.
I think they'd like it. They'd love it.
Oh yeah, we do have a couple more checks available now. We do have Pyramid Fairy opened up by Swamp and Ice opening up. So that's another option for where that Fire Rod might land. That's really the main one. I don't remember if Ninban checked Hylia Island at all, so that's another possibility.
Yeah, he checked it, I think. He was right there. I can't imagine he didn't check it.
prieR
seeing it.
is skipping left side swamp.
For now. A lot of people will skip left side swamp if there's just one item, and if there's two items, they go back for it. Then you have people who just skip it regardless. You have people who check it regardless. Everybody's different.
Yeah, it's one of those things that.
Ooh, this is sketchy.
Okay, he's good. He's got exactly enough arrows to kill Vidi.
It's cutting that a little close.
Exactly enough health, exactly enough arrows. It's perfect. Okay, so we have found a compass in swamp, so we know there's at least one item on the left side. Depending if Argus has the map or an item, it'll be possibly a second item as well.
And then Band's gonna be about a full swamp clear, partial clear behind.
And he's got that Ice Palace clear, so even if the Fire
that's
Rod
right.
is here on Argus, the time difference is not even a full dungeon at this point. This is very close for how off the rails things have gone for Ninban at points in this race.
Ice Palace is about like a 3.5 minute clear in go mode, something like that.
And Swamp with no
Assuming.
left side isn't far off of that. prieR going for the Ice Rod kill here, which, because he's only got him 1 hit per cycle, has actually been slower than just doing spin attacks, but... Okay, 1 item, left side Swamp. Does he go back in?
Okay, Boots left side, Fire Rod, and Bonk Rocks. I'm calling it.
That sounds reasonable.
Fire's leading.
He is leaving, so these two are going to be stupidly close by the time these dungeons are complete. Ninban is probably going to skip left side Swamp as well. He's got Pyramid Fairy opening up from Swamp. It's only 1 item.
You could see it as like a place prieR would skip and do it just because he would skip it.
True, he could do that.
There's a game-winning play.
Okay, folks, we're coming down to the wire. There were points in this race where we started to question if maybe things were going too off the rails for Ninban, but no, we're 1 hour and 21 minutes in, and these two are going to be basically synced by the end of their respective dungeons. It's fantastic. I'm still personally just pulling for Fire Rod in Pinball Room or one of those other 2 chests next to it, though.
Man, that would be hilarious.
Can you imagine how these two would feel to find that there?
I don't think they would ever not clear Skull again.
To be fair, speaking from experience of someone who's been bitten by skipping Skullwoods before, you still skip it eventually. Let's see, we're going to have a very important moment coming up. If Ninban goes left side immediately, the odds of him checking it are significantly higher than if he puts it off till after the boss.
I actually think he's gonna check it. I don't know, it's just a feeling.
Yeah, and he does have less available to him than prieR, who hasn't done the flipper stuff, who hadn't touched Ice Palace. He's got a lot less options outside of Swamp right now, which kind of pushes you farther that way.
Getting the flippers checks in, I think, is the big thing. Following logic and that stuff, but Pyramid Fairy counts too.
Ninban is going hard on back of Swamp. He didn't even check the circle hallway room. So he's almost definitely going to come back in, because you don't leave that chest behind. But that shows you just how far behind he feels right now. Because, yeah, you don't skip the circle hallway. It's right there. You only do that if you are desperate. prieR through the bomb jump, working his way around to the right side chest and the iced tea room. after Swamp and Ice, you do Pyramid Fairy, right? If you're either of these two.
Yeah, for sure. I don't see how you can, how you don't. I mean, Ninban's like right there too. Probably will lose a little bit of time having to go down south from the house.
Yeah, it's minor, but with how close this has become, that minor difference could be very relevant. Also, shout out to the fact that we saw sword number 3 less than 10 minutes into the seed and we still don't have it. Much nicer Argus kill on Ninban's side, so he's got 2 items left in Swamp. He's got his crystal. What do you do, Ninban?
Got a call for a skip. Will he skip?
He's going back in. Now, he left the item in that hallway room, so this might just be go and grab that when it's not the map. He might just mirror out. But it's going to depend on what he thinks prieR did, whether he'll keep going or not. prieR nearly through his Ice Palace. He's going to check the big chest, get his 3rd item, and then be headed down to fight Cold Stare. And 10 arrows, Ninban is going left. If it's the Fire Rod, well, that puts Ninban in the lead. If it's not the Fire Rod, then these two are still very, very close.
At least I got this call right.
That's true. 1 out of 5 ain't bad, right?
I thought it was 6, but I'll take 5.
To be fair, I didn't count. I figured, batting 200 in
Oh.
baseball, that's like pitcher level. That's fine.
Yeah, it's Mendoza line. See if prieR will give Cold Stare some kisses. No? Oh, there's one. Actually, that might have missed snowball. Good fight by prieR.
Yep, where Ninban's Argus was much cleaner than prieR's. prieR's Cold Stare was much cleaner than Ninban's. They keep wanting to trade. No one wants to just take stuff for themselves. They want to make sure they give back to the other person.
Ninban's not going to be very far behind because prieR's going to have to flute over there. Oh, he's doing other stuff. Okay. This makes
He's
sense.
going to do these flipper checks first, which makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, it makes tons of sense.
The last item in Swamp is a big 20. It's Pyramid Fairy or Skull Woods that has this item. Oh, come on, front of Skull Woods.
Yeah,
You know,
Ninban's
we also haven't seen Catfish.
I can't believe nobody's going to Catfish. Tell me you're joking.
No, not joking. Not joking at all.
These guys.
And prieR going to be heading up to Zora and the waterfall. Then he's probably going to be doing this this same Pyramid Fairy check. He's already done the pyramid, so it's 1 less item to check than Ninban's got right now, but Let's see. We are going to drop the bomb off, wait a few seconds. They're going to feel very long in this situation in a race. But you know, Ninban's got another thing to do. You can walk over here and see that, hey, there's a shield here. I don't want it.
Boots, 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 boots. I like some techno music. It's catfish
Another shield.
or skull.
It's catfish or skull woods. We're down to 50-50 for the progression here. Wow.
If it's catfish, this seed could have been so fast.
It
just
really
listen to
could
me.
have been. Because you
Man,
had
just listen to me.
You had the book access early, so you could have checked pedestal early, and you would have gone to Skull Woods with the fire rod to clear it. Wow, this, yeah, could have been a lightning pedestal seed with the right routing.
They did check skull, they just like partially checked it.
Yeah, they checked the chest in the front door, and they checked the vanilla big key chest. No one dropped down to check pinball room, compass chest, and the pot prison.
Show us those boots. Catfish holding the goods.
It's Skull Woods!
Oh my. Oh my.
Oh my lord!
Okay.
I cannot believe that that's actually the answer. And Ninban is walking his way back over here. I'm halfway curious if he's trying to remember if there's anything he forgot. Because normally you would just fluke back, right? He's got to be thinking that there's something. prieR gets his Pyramid Fairy junk and heads over to Catfish himself to get the arguably worse news than the pedestal.
I guess Ninban's going to Yard Ledge, and hopefully to Skull.
You know, like the only other location they have access to that we haven't seen yet is Spike Cave, and they don't have a logic access to it. So
Maybe Cape and Skull. The boots.
you are a cruel man.
Well, if they get boots, they get a sword. You go for that tempered sword for sure.
Oh yeah, boots would be fine, but the cape and going to Spike Cave for stuff, that's not so fun. To answer chat, the mushroom turned into a 20 rupee. They both turned it in basically immediately. And then I'm going to go ahead and flute to 3 and take the sad walk to Skull. No. He's going for Spike Cave.
It makes sense. He picked up the potion.
And prieR is going back to Swamp before going to check the very quick check in Skull Woods. Ouch.
Okay, this has been fun.
This has been what a seed and what a race of the seed. I don't blame them though for committing to not checking those chests. You know that at least 2 of them are keys, and you don't think your opponent's going to do the same thing. You don't think that at all.
I wonder if there's some logic thing that made him not Folklore Skull.
Wow, Skull Woods had the cape or the cane.
That's great.
That is so good. So very good. Also, I'm just gonna make sure to tell both these two that you definitely cursed them on that.
What if Skullwoods had and the boots. And then cape is in like vanilla.
Do you know how bad you would feel if you found the boots there? I want one of them to check this chest. I'm sorry, prieR. It would lose you the race, but please go check Skull Woods before you do Spike Cave. Tell us what is there. So prieR's working his way through left side of the swamp. He's got the key. He's got to do it the long way. He's going to get his 20 rupees mirror out, and then we'll see what he decides. If he makes the Galaxy Brain play that Ninban just did, or makes the crap, well, I've lost play, and goes to Skullwoods and finds question mark.
You could find boots and then big keys on torch.
That would be so heartbreaking for Ninban, but such a fitting end to this seed. Instantly, it's as Ninban goes off to face Mothula and prieR is going through Ice Palace. I don't think we've mentioned it yet, but drop these runners to follow. They're both very good at this game. They've been through a little bit of torture in terms of the seed, and they're still at it. They're going to be done here shortly, and they put on a good show for you guys. So if you enjoyed what you've seen, go ahead and drop them a follow. They do a lot of this stuff. Moth, as expected, is not an item. He couldn't have been an item. Get a crystal, and Ninban will be headed up to T-Rock.
Come on, prieR, go to Skull.
prieR is also going for Spike Cave. That's how you know they're both...
I'm sure they both realized that Spike was always out of logic.
Yeah, that's the choice of desperation here, going for Spike Cave over that Skull Woods check. Like, maybe it was just an involved item, and, you know, my opponent didn't do Spike Cave with it. And it's going to pay off for both of them, which is fantastic. But I still really want to know what was in Skull Woods. Was it the boots? Was it the cane? Was it the cape? What was there? And answer a question in chat. Again, there is no change to the standard settings of the tournament for this race. Ninban chose to keep it as an open 7 out of 7 defeat Ganon seed, normal item shuffle and everything. So just a pretty normal open. So prieR is about a Skull Woods behind. He's going to be going to Skull as Ninban goes to T-Rock. And yeah, it's going to all come down to execution. If Ninban can play cleanly, he's taking this to game 3.
It's definitely Ninban's to lose. If he moves.
Yeah, and prieR is no slouch on execution, so you gotta play relatively cleanly to not be losing time against someone of his caliber execution-wise. I think the good news for both of them, though, is with Fire Rod and Spike Cave, you know, even with their probably being fully aware the Caper Cane is over here in Skull Woods, but with that Fire Rod and Spike Cave and the flips on Pedestal, they probably both feel behind, but they also probably both think, my opponent probably went through a lot of that same stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
In fact, in Ninban's case in particular, by very virtue of the fact that prieR is not done yet, I would say he stands to be a lot more confident that he did not dip Skull Woods first. There's a small key from the Chain Chomps. We're going to be skipping over the vanilla big key chest, most likely. I think we saw the big key already.
Saw boots in that chest.
That's just rude. Not a bad Mothula fight, focusing on Fire Rod shots to do the damage, so it took 8 of them. And yeah, Ninban is skipping vanilla big key, so he's got the big key. prieR is going to be joining him in T-Rock very soon. And we're down to... Ninban's going to be most of a T-Rock ahead. So here's my question. You're in these runners' shoes. After everything you've been through, you're going through T-Rock. You're still on Master Sword, you have no silvers, and you have no boots. Do you check Laser Bridge, or do you go all in and skip it?
I'd probably check it. Actually, no, I don't check it. No way.
To be fair, it balances on... Yeah, that chest being a small key opens that option. But, I don't know. I feel like I would probably check it. Just... It's so quick checks, and there's so many things that could either help you a lot, or the one thing that could potentially be required.
I just wouldn't want to deal with Laser Bridge without boots, or cape, or cane.
To see, when I learned Laser Skip, I didn't realize that it was as simple as it is with boots. So I did it bootsless all the time, even when I had boots. So I'm actually pretty good at the bootsless version.
Okay, nice.
That said, we have seen Ninban's decision. He will be skipping Laser Bridge, going straight to Trinex. We're going to be using some hammer strats for Trinex because, well, Master Sword.
Getting cape out of Skull would have actually been pretty nice.
Yeah, I'd say... Yeah, I was just about to say, of all the things, more than anything, the Ganon fight is definitely a tough thing that cape helps on.
Ninban gonna spam some Fire Rod, because why not? Half magic plus Fire Rod makes for an easy time.
Yeah, it's usually the go-to strat in that while the other head's exploding, you can't really do anything else, so just use a lot of Fire Rod. Ninban gets a map from Trinex. He gets crystal number 7 as prieR moves into the Chain Chomp room. We don't have the bot going for it, but if you guys want to toss numbers into chat in terms of where you think the big key will be, feel free. If you want the seed to be a little bit meaner, you're hoping for number 3, the torch. Or number 7, depending on the routing, I guess.
Possibly number 1.
Possibly number 1, yes. We got the tower open, and Well, not quite open yet, but opened up all the way at 143.55. We'll see
I mean,
where prieR ends up when he gets there.
Just under 144.
Ninban beelining for the
Please.
torch, finding
Aw.
a fairy in a bottle. We are good.
I'm sad.
I'm a little bit disappointed too. I was hoping for your suggestion of Boots and Skull Woods and Vanilla Cape.
I guess we just got greedy. Key.
That's one way to put it.
A shield. A big
And
key.
a really big key.
Nice. That route worked out perfectly.
Unless, silvers and a sword are the two things on the right side.
That would be bad.
That's honestly, I think, what prieR's kind of got to hope for at this point, is that Ninban gets stuck on Master Sword Silverless and a little bit different routing in GT, or checking Laser Bridge here gets him at least the silvers, if not both.
Decent couple mimic rooms.
This room is awful without boots because you can't do the quick run strat.
Fire check and laser bridge. Takes one in the face instead.
Hey, a
Good
boomerang.
morning.
Oh, there's Temper.
Okay. That'll
and
help.
he is out. I like
Good
that
enough.
decision.
Alright, so if we were playing, I'd be doing Master Sword and you'd be untempered.
Yeah. Also, a quick note for our viewers that we just got word from Speed Gaming on. The race that is due to follow this one has just begun. So once this is over, we unfortunately are not going to have time for interviews. We are going to have to kind of end once prieR is wrapped up. So just wanted to give everyone a forewarning that's going to be a thing. Unfortunately, we won't get to talk to these two about how fantastic that seed was, I guess.
Oh well.
Either way, Ninban is through most of the gauntlet. He took out Land Mode 2 in short order, heading up to the Wizrobe rooms, the Satisfying rooms, and prieR, meanwhile, getting his 7th crystal, will be joining him in GT momentarily.
Oh, this room is horrible without boots.
And without that, cape that was probably chilling in Skull Woods.
Yep, that. I'm kind of mad that I'm not going to get asked him about that.
I agree. So Ninban up through the Torch Room 1. He's going to grab a little bit of magic refill here because he doesn't have enough. Taking that laser hit, you could kind of see the screen stutter for a moment. I believe that was one of his torches going out, which made him safe to go upstairs without risk of a soft lock.
Okay, we'll check these two chests. Really smart. Bunch of nothing, though.
prieR, meanwhile, checking Hope Room, and it had nothing, so Ninban's route was the optimal.
Okay, boots. Boots at Moldorm 2 chest.
That's always fun.
I've seen it once. It's stuff of legend. Yeah, he
So
definitely
prior,
checks. He definitely checks Moldorm too.
yeah, I think you got to just for the sake of you're on Master Sword Silverless, you can't just skip a free chest. Okay, so it was Kane of
that was
Berna in
fantastic.
Skullwoods.
Or
We
Boots
have
of
our
Kane.
answer.
Silvers.
Wow! Prior gets silvers too.
Oh
At
man.
this point, it's almost certainly not going to be enough unless Ninban has a lot of trouble on Ganon. But he checked a couple of extra things, and it really paid off for him.
Yeah, I think Ninban's over 5 minutes ahead. He could
Yeah,
die.
definitely.
He could die or run out of magic or something. Master Sword Silverless is not free by any stretch of the imagination.
And to be fair, the silverless part isn't really that hard. It's phase 1 and 2 that are the rough part.
That's true. It's like there's double the opportunities to fall, though.
Very true. And I see a comment in chat about how prior did one too many double dips. It seems like that's a pretty good way to sum it up. Ninban got to single dip both Eastern and Desert. He also double dipped Mire, but he got to single dip both of those. He single dipped Swamp. He double dipped Pod, which prior was able to do in one go. But I think that all pretty much adds up to the difference here. So we're in phase 1. Phase 1 usually isn't too bad of a fight. Ninban going for some Mario strats to get some double spins in and gets pushed through the block. Feels bad, man.
Ooh. These strats look so finicky. I think I've tried them a few times. I couldn't get anywhere. I'd just bounce all over the place or get stuck.
Yeah, it's exceedingly difficult to be able to do that well and consistently.
Oh, watch it, Ninban. He's on red mail, but Ganon hurts with any mail.
He's got that blue potion, so he's going to get a full heal, but that's all the potion he has. We've only found one bottle that we had access to all season.
Boosting through the bats. It's a good spot. It's a fantastic spot.
You can't ask for better. That hook shot was almost perfect to have him just lose invuln directly in the fire bat. But we're on to phase 3. The really dangerous part of this fight is over.
Good Limola's fight there by prior.
Very much so. And you can see the difference between these two shrinking as prior goes through Gauntlet with Tempered Sword Silvers versus Ninban's Master Sword Silverless Gauntlet.
I'm sure Ninban likes seeing that. Just don't fall.
Now he is sticking with the lamp currently, trying to get a few hits in on Ganon before going to the fire rod. If you still had that blue potion, you would probably see him going for triples, but at this point, an hour and 53 minutes into the seed, you want to make sure you don't fall, you want to make sure you don't die, you want to make very sure you don't run out of magic.
Yeah, you want to be safe. He could more than get away with using Fire Rod, but I don't fault him for being safe.
Absolutely not. He's making good progress here. He did manage to get a triple off that placement of Ganon Warps. And during the course of Ninban's Ganon fight, prior is at Moldorm 2. He has gone through the entire gauntlet during this fight, which tells you how much fun this fight is.
Yeah, it can take a while.
Ninban doing extremely well, though. He's going to be done here very soon. I haven't been counting.
He's getting close. I want to say maybe like 5 more.
The vaunted 52 spin attacks on Ganon are nearly complete. If he fell right now, prieR would probably take it.
He's froze.
Yeah, this is an unfortunate time for this stream to lock up. Hey, he got it! So, pulling up the race room, Ninban has finished in first place with a time of 1:54.31 and will be forcing a Game 2 with prieR.
Good game.
Sorry, Game 3, not Game 2. I can't.
Oh, I thought this counted as 2. It still only counts as 1.
Ninban's in chat. Hey, Ninban, you forgot something in Skull. Or we forgot something someplace else.
Now, looking through the race room a little bit, they were saying that Spike Cave might be in Logic now with 2 magic extensions. So that could be a possibility, but if it is, I'm a little bit behind on that logic, in which case I would apologize for not being up to date on that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that either. I know they changed some weird stuff.
I'm kind of curious, so I'm going to go verify that one way or the other afterwards, because that would be important to know for my own races, if nothing else.
Yeah.
Ninban said he knows.
Huh, I definitely did not know that, if that's a answer. So, yeah, that's, I'm going to follow up on that, because I really need to be aware of that. So, Ninban, obviously, we're watching prieR go through his Ganon fight, which is a lot easier than yours. I'm assuming you've been here, saw that Tempered Sword was on Laser Bridge, Silver's on right side GT. And that is the end for prieR as well, who finishes in second place with a time of 1:57.15. So a less than 3-minute difference between these two after the craziness that this seed was. That's real close. That's fantastic. That was a great race. We're going to be seeing Game 3 between these two. I'm expecting it to be just as good again.
And it sounds like we really don't have time. So I'm assuming we're going to get cut off here pretty quick.
Yes, just one more quick reminder to give our runners a follow. They put you on a fantastic show today. They're both fantastic runners. A shout out to our tracker, Jeremy Tramer, as well as my co-commentator tonight, Unfit. It has been fun working with you on this. It was a crazy seed. It was fun to talk about aimlessly for an extended period.
Oh yeah, this couldn't have been more fun.
Fun times.
Great. So with that, we're going to go ahead and make a nice early cut here for the schedule purposes. Thank you all for tuning in. Stay tuned. In just a few moments, the stream will be restarting for the next race. Thank you, everyone, for watching, and have a great night.
Good night.